Brittany Stinson, my wife, has her master's in science administration. She's a TEDx speaker, operational strategist, and the co-founder of Seeding Greatness, a movement of leaders impacting the world with their stories and stages. Brittany is a business owner, wife, and a mom of 5. She is the co-organizer of TEDx Cool Springs, right in Franklin, Tennessee, the best-selling entrepreneur anthology contributor, and she has worked with a diverse portfolio of clients ranging from solopreneurs to hospitals with $500 million salary budgets. And she went from burnout to tripling her company's revenue in 2 years because she was living and working from a healthy, aligned place. While she isn't working, you'll find her by the pool or on a beach with her family. Y'all join me in welcoming the most beautiful woman on the planet, my wife, Brittany Stinson.
So sweet. Hey y'all, hi. Thanks for being here today. Earlier this year, I actually had the privilege of doing a TEDx talk, and the topic was on trust. And the reason I was able to share on a topic like that, on a stage of that caliber, I realized was because of how many times trust had been broken in my own life. Sitting in a movie theater parking lot, waiting for my date to show up, for no one to show up long after the movie started. Hearing what my friends were saying about me behind my back, and learning that my Hallmark movie family was actually, my parents were getting a divorce. And I learned that when I came home from college my freshman year. Thought I was coming home to what I had always been a part of, and none of that was left. And so trust, it had this like pattern of being broken in my life. And then as I was preparing for my TEDx, you start kind of like digging a little deeper and figuring out, okay, well, there's definitely a mirror here. I am also guilty. I don't call people back when I say I will. You know, I'm going to go to the gym today and day after day, and I don't do that. Or, you know, for me, health has also been a big journey. So I knew time and time again, I'm full, I'm good, and then I would just overeat, and that was a pattern in my life for a really long time. So I could definitely raise my hand and say, I am also guilty of breaking my own trust a lot. I call these micro compromises. It's these tiny compromises that I would make year over year that they don't seem significant in the moment. You really don't feel like they're going to make a big difference, but over that many years, they led me to a really rock bottom place. So at the end of 2021, we were financially strained. Our marriage, we didn't know if we were going to stay married. I had no emotional bandwidth for my kids. I would say, Mommy's sick. And I wasn't sick. I just had no space internally for them. And I was at this like really rock bottom place. And I feel like it's at that place, a lot of us maybe can say like, okay, we got to get our stuff together. And it didn't happen overnight. I had to ask myself some really honest questions. How in the world did I get here? This is definitely not what the vision for my life looked like in my own mind and heart. And so what's next? Like, tomorrow's gonna come. I'm gonna wake up and have to face this again. I can't keep numbing it out. Like, too much margaritas and queso, like that's not gonna, like you can only do that so much. And so there had to be a moment of what the heck is next? What does this look like? And so I picked up a self-help book and I started drinking a glass of water every single morning before I did anything else. And that sounds just as insignificant as those micro compromises. But what I learned is that if I can keep these tiny commitments to myself, I built myself back out of that spiral the same way that I got there. And so over time, definitely not days or months, but over a couple years, I became a person who I could trust again. I could look in the mirror and know I say what I mean, and I do what I say I'm gonna do. And that was an incredible feeling. And it had this ripple effect in our business. Our revenue tripled in just a couple of years. I have this amazing relationship with my kids now. Dance parties are a regular thing. We cuddle all the time. Like, I think they probably get too much of like the mommy physical touch. That's my love language. But it's real now and it's not forced. And I would say we're more in love than we've ever been. And so thankfully, that work led me to where I am today, and we get to do what we do now, and I love it. So the way that I got to the bottom is the way that I built myself back out. And in preparation for my TEDx talk, I was able to see, okay, I think I really have always had trust as the center point of the work that I get to do with myself and in our business. And so now what I get to do is talk to teams and organizations about this shift of trust and what that looks like and the pain that's existent when you don't have trust on a team or in your organization, and how good things can be when you do feel like you can trust yourself, your team, your leader, your cohort that you're working with. So I want to talk to you today about 3 ways that the shift of trust can really impact your team and your organization in a positive way. Okay, so 3 ways. They're all 3 C's, so you can remember them, put them in your pocket for later. This is my formula, okay? So communication, clarity, and calibration. So we're going to talk about communication first. So raise your hand if you've ever been in one of those meetings after the meetings. You know what I mean? Like, we had the big meeting, we had the full team, everybody was pretty cordial. Maybe we even did some brainstorming. And then you get back to your office and someone knocks on your door and they're like, hey, do you have a few minutes? And you're like, yeah, what's up? And they're like, well, you remember when so-and-so said that thing? Well, this is what I wish I would have said. Right? And then the next one trickles in. And then you're wondering, like, who else is going to walk by and what are they going to think that we're talking about, right? Because this is where the actual trust is facilitated. This is like the real decisions are made in here, right? Now, if you're not in those meetings, sorry. I've been on the outside of them and in them. And all it is a symptom of the fact there's just really not great trust in our team to be able to communicate when it matters, when we're all around the table. This is when, hopefully, we can be honest and speak our mind and share our insights. So if that's something that you're experiencing, my invitation for you would be to say, hey, leader, how transparent are you being to model communication and transparency with your team? Because I believe, like John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. So if you're not able to say as the leader, hey, I really don't know today. Like, I just don't know, but I can commit to going and figuring it out. Or this doesn't really look good today. Like, it's not a good outlook. Numbers aren't where they need to be, right? We have to be able to be transparent in that communication. Otherwise, there's these silos, these workarounds. There's a lot of slack. To have that transparency, it can definitely get uncomfortable. So there's a book. It's called Crucial Conversations. And in this book, the authors use this, it's this principle, and they talk about if you keep the main goal of the relationship in mind when you get in these uncomfortable moments, that can be the thing that pulls you through that uncomfortable conversation. And so if we're able to keep our focus on, like, what's the main thing? I genuinely desire a culture of trust and collaborative efforts so that we can go do the thing that our mission statement says we can do, right? But if you're on the other side of the table and someone's bringing something to you in a transparent way, like, hey, this doesn't feel good when you say this. This is not a good performance, right? Whatever that looks like that's uncomfortable, as a leader, please don't dismiss it, defend it, ignore it, blow up on them. Like, to be able to hold that space to say to your team, yeah, transparency is safe here. That is the key to this communication piece. Okay, so that's communication. Second one is clarity. Okay, clarity is all about how blurry is it to your team and what they need to be doing, or how clear is it? Okay, I'll give you an example. This is embarrassing. I kind of like went off. You know how you get like digital courage? And you're like writing this email and you're like, if you remember, as per my last email, right? Da 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 da. Right? Like like you're gonna go remember. And I'm like, I asked you to do this, and that. And you said you would do it by Wednesday, and it's the next Monday, whatever that looks like. And she's like, my team member, she's like, well, you didn't like really say that. Like she didn't say that, but she was like, okay, well, can you show me where? And I couldn't find it. I had not given her clarity on my expectations. But I sure was mad. And I was letting her know. And so anytime we feel like we want to go hold someone accountable, please ask yourself, like just a quick gut check, how clear have I made the expectations for them? Okay, a little tip that worked out really well for me with a team member. I used this bucket analogy, and I was like, hey, if these are the buckets of your work that I'm expecting from you, I want, maybe like 30% of your time to go to this bucket, 10% of your time to be in this bucket, and then this one. So that when I see your timesheet and your results, I can say, okay, cool, I set these expectations in these buckets. So if I'm not getting the results I want, and you ran the play, okay, that's on me, right? So the bucket system is really helpful, but I would definitely, like if you don't take anything from the clarity point, before you try to hold somebody accountable, don't be me, look at how clear have I made it. They can't hit a blurry target. So make sure that those lines are really clear, okay? Third C, calibration. Calibration is all I'm calling how quickly can we repair trust when it's been broken, right? How quickly can we get back to center? Can we make adjustments? Can we shift and get back? If you have been on any type of social media in the last few weeks, you may have seen this Cracker Barrel rebranding debacle. Okay, Cracker Barrel tried to rebrand, it ended up being very like soulless and hollow, and the internet exploded. That nobody liked what it had become. It looked like a really bad hotel lobby, in my opinion. New logo, terrible. In 7 days, they lost $90 million of market share. It was a disaster. But within those same 7 days, their team scrambled, they were honest, they said, hey, we messed up, we're listening to you. They trashed the new logo, the new decor is, I would assume, going back in the dumpster. I would suck to be the team that had to just put it all up and put it back. But they regained $90 million of market share in 7 days. That's wild. That is a historical event to have it happen that fast. And in my opinion, it's because of how quick they were able to calibrate. So this is not a talk about market trust, but we can adopt the same mentality on our teams. How quickly can I say, I have no idea what I'm doing. I totally dropped the ball on that, I messed up, right? If we can say that quicker, I think that we can build trust with our teams, our leadership, and that calibration factor of how quickly we can do it, in my opinion, is the difference between a winning and a losing team. How long will people stay around, or how high will their turnover be? So that's communication, clarity, and calibration. I'll leave you with this. I really do feel like there are people in the world who want to work really hard and make a difference. I understand there's worker shortages, and I understand it's a different generation. But I do think there are people who want to give their all and make a big difference. Sometimes the culture just devours their attempts, right? Sam Chan, culture will eat vision for lunch every day. I was one of those people. I worked at an organization for years, overtime, sacrifice, my kids with me late in the office. For years, I loved this organization. But there was very little trust. The communication was not transparent. The clarity was lacking, and we sure weren't calibrating at any type of rapid speed. And eventually, it wore me down, and I exited. And that was really hard. And even just talking about it a couple of days ago, emotions still are in there. It's still a sad season because you see what it could have been. and what I wanted it to be so badly. I love what I do now, but I do take lessons from that season as a leader with me today to say, hey, how can I create a culture of trust that people really feel like they're heard and seen and they can thrive in? So if you find yourself in a space in the next week, 2 weeks, next month, and you feel that little nudge in your back or that little quiet inner knowing, like, hey, this is a communication moment. This is an accountability moment. This is a calibration moment. How fast can I raise my hand and adjust? I would invite you to just push your edge a little further. Turn the dial up just a little more on these 3 C's. I think that there's this possibility that we can all really walk in our unique giftings, create teams and organizations that really do live out their mission statement and make a big difference in the world. But I don't think that we can get there without this shift of trust. So just lean in next time. It is uncomfortable, but if you keep getting back in the arena, the benefits of this work start to far outweigh that uncomfortable edge, and it's this beautiful ripple effect. So that's the shift of trust. Thank you.